ASMR for all my listeners out there. Tickle your ear holes with that hearty sip of beverage. Welcome back to another week of Sippin With Sin, the podcast where we talk about stuff and things and stuff that are important to all. We're coining that. It's true. It's the number one podcast about important things that matter to everybody, not just us. I don't care what you say. But welcome back to another week, another episode. We got some fun stuff to talk about this week. And it's time that we bring back the one and only Mr. Christian himself.
Hello. It's good to be back for another episode. We've been doing this for a long time. It doesn't feel like we've been doing it that long.
It is over a year at this point. Over a year of talking about, dude, everything. I'm curious, we should throw it out there. What episode or what topic has been your favorite that we talked about? Is there anything that stands out when you think of the podcast? Some topic or something, an episode that you're like, damn, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
That's a really good question to ask, because if I were to think about it for myself, obviously I liked talking about House of the Dragon and just how in-depth that got. I like talking about comics when we talked about those. I like talking about I think I have a lot of fun when we talk about new movies that we've seen, because we tip differing opinions. But I think one of the things that I've had the most fun talking about that's popping up in my head right now is when we talked about Halloween and started ranking those masks and stuff.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of fun in the rankings. Halloween, the horror stuff listing is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, but I mean, listeners, let us know. We want to do more of what you guys want to listen to, because we talk about stuff and things, right? So we can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
And if there's something that we've talked about in the past that you'd like to hear more of, like band stuff, horror stuff, rankings, video games, let us know, because we'll throw that in, as it fits.
Yeah. And speaking of listeners letting us know, huge shout out to Jordan for commenting on the Instagram and letting us know that he would love to hear more band stories. Pretty much stories in the band, favorite shows, favorite things that happened, as well as why we no longer do band stuff and all that. And that will definitely be something we will happily address in a future pod. It will probably be a lengthy conversation, so we're gonna save that for when things are a little slower. But we'll happily talk about band stuff. At least I will. I don't know about Christian. Christian don't like band stuff.
I love talking about that. Thank you so much, Jordan T, man, my boy. I'm glad that once, thank you for listening is the first thing I like to say. And second, thanks for asking that, man. That's definitely something that we've talked about before and that we want to get back into talking about more. So you want it, you got it, man. We'll make it happen.
Absolutely. But as we like to do every episode, to start the episode, we like to talk about what we've been listening to, watching, reading, playing, all that good stuff. I'm going to start because the hell with Christian, and he doesn't get to start this week. So, I have recently, I've been on a long, well, not that long, well, pretty long, hiatus from Halo.
Long.
And with the new season that dropped, time of the recording this, I think 2 days ago, something like that, I can't remember. I was like, I'm going to try it. Can't hurt to play it on stream for funsies. Just see what's new, what they've changed. And I can't lie, the new little modes and the community modes and stuff like that are pretty fun. It's fun. I don't know that I could grind it every day, but I mean, it's fun. I like Halo. I do enjoy it. But the new season is called Echoes Within, season 3, and it's not bad. Not bad. I also
let me hop in real quick. I'm not a big FPS guy, right? First person shooter for the uninitiated. I'm not huge on those types of games. I'm not really big on battle royale type games, but when you play one and it hits, it hits. So I guess my question to you is, when it comes to multiplayer games, what is it that you're looking for? What makes a good multiplayer game to you, Sin?
Like a good shooter?
Just a good multiplayer in general. It doesn't have to be a shooter. When you think multiplayer, what do you think of? Do you think of shooters? Do you think of battle royale type games? What makes a good multiplayer game for you? What are you looking for?
I would probably think of shooters right away. After shooters, multiplayer wise, MMOs. I love MMOs. like World of Warcraft. Well, Diablo's not an MMO, but that style game multiplayer, I really enjoy those dungeon
Like
crawlers and
dungeon
shit.
crawler kind of.
Yeah, I like those. A good shooter, dude. It's crazy. Like if you would ask old me. So here's the thing. Like I'm gonna use Halo as kind of like our reference. So in the
Okay.
old days, whenever you would get a shooter, you could drop a game with like, a set number map, 6, 7 maps, something like that, whatever. And then people would be like, okay, cool. And they would just grind the shit out of it because we didn't know better. Now it's like constant content has to go. You constantly have to be adding something new. If not, people are going to get burnt out quick. They're going to be tired of it. They're going to move on. They're going to go to a BR because even though it's the same map, I guess it's an evolving, it's a different experience each time. I don't know. That was Halo's problem for me. Halo is a really, really good game. I do really enjoy Infinite. I enjoyed the campaign. I enjoy how it played. It did have its problems. But the problem was, especially once we grinded rank, playing the same maps over and over again, I feel like they weren't prepared and they didn't drop enough content to keep the game fresh and to keep you be like, all right, this week we have this. It was more like, we're going to drop this and you have to pay money to get these cosmetics. And I was like, I'm not paying more money. Like, no. Especially for a free multiplayer game. I understand that's how they make their money, but they just weren't dropping like, here's a new map or here's this other mode. It was like very scarce with that. And even the maps, I think to date they've only dropped, maybe 4 or 5 maps, which they have finally uploaded the Forge, which is all community maps, and that is going to help it a lot. But yeah, I think content, yeah, I don't know if that really answered, but it just depends.
I mean, it kind of does. So for what I'm hearing
Fortnite,
is
BR-wise,
shooters.
Fortnite constantly has events and content dropping. They're changing like your weapons that maybe you can get, or they're vaulting or unvaulting. I haven't played Call of Duty Warzone 2, 2.0. I played Warzone a long time ago. I kind of just stopped with it. The multiplayer for Call of Duty is fun for like a month or two, but then it's kind of the same thing. You're like, all right, I'm done grinding. Like, I'm good. And Warzone is whatever. Apex, I think, has events. They rotate maps, which helps them. I think that's a big thing for them because you don't want it to get stale.
Right.
Changing guns, changing like metas, if you will. It's just annoying when like, I know for Call of Duty, like if this gun is the meta, like one person uses this, they're like, oh, they're slaying out with it. Then everybody runs and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this gun kind of deal.
Yeah, so for me, what I'm hearing from you is you like shooters for sure for multiplayer experiences. You like getting, content. You like content to keep coming, which makes sense. I think for me, when I think of multiplayer type games, I'm thinking of those kind of asymmetric games like Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th, the game. I'm thinking of games like I'm thinking of fighting games a lot of the times. The Mortal Kombat's, the Injustices, the Street Fighters, the Tekkens. Like I'm thinking those games. Smash Brothers is another good one that I think of when I think of multiplayer.
Mortal Kombat
and the
does
main
a good job
reason
of
is
doing
because
towers and stuff for content changes. Like you can earn, especially with the new NetherRealm like gear system that they've implemented in Injustice and the last Mortal Kombat. I enjoy those towers that change. I would do those weekly and daily just to do them and get shit.
I think so. I'm gonna speak on something you were just talking about. You talked about the content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I wanted to kind of get on for a second. There have been so many games that I've played in the past, multiplayer wise, that had a really good concept or a gimmick, if you will, and they just couldn't keep up with the content, like updating, updating the game for the content. And sometimes that makes sense because, like, for an example, Dead by Daylight, that's one of the few games that has been going for as long as it's been going, that has the content that you want, that has, that they keep coming out with stuff. Now, if they stopped coming out with content this year and then they were like, hey, we're working on Dead by Daylight 2, be prepared. Like, then I would be like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Like, why wouldn't they stop making content for this? So I'm hoping that like, for an example, a game that I'm looking forward to, I know that it's not going to last, but a game that I'm looking forward to that's multiplayer is the Killer Clowns from Outer Space game, right? Because it's the same setup, that asymmetrical kind of gameplay where it's, 4 or 5 survivors versus whatever the thing is, and all of that started with the game Evolve. I don't know if you remember that
Yep.
game, but
Chasing
it
around
would
the
be like,
monster. I remember playing that.
yeah, like games like that, and then they had the Predator game that came out that was the same concept. The problem with those games is when you find a game like that, typically they can't get the licenses for stuff, they can't keep the content rolling out, and the game gets really stale really fast. People stream the hell out of it for like, the first week or two, and then it kind of dies off and they don't really do anything to keep it going. Dead by Daylight doesn't have that issue. Fortnite doesn't have that issue. Games like Fall Guys have that issue. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's playing Fall Guys and Among Us for a while, and it gets boring, it gets stale because you're doing the same thing over and over again, which I understand. But I'm hoping that they make more games like that. Obviously, it kind of lends itself to horror because of um, the Evolves, the Dead by Daylights, and shit like that. But like, I really would just love to see a company take a game like that seriously. Give us the graphics we want. Give us some semblance of a storyline so that you can play by yourself. You don't have to constantly be playing online. But the online aspect obviously is the portion of the game that is the most after, right? You're going to get the most money, the most bang for your buck when you play that. So really lean into it. So for an example, if I were going to make a survival, like just spitballing off the top of my head, I'm not saying make this, I'm just saying like off the top of my head, if I were going to make a Scream game like that, right? You'd have 4 or 5. I'm assuming 4 is just the easiest number. So you have 4, friends, teenagers, or whatever. Actually, no, 5. You have 5 friends or teenagers, and people start getting picked off one by one throughout the game, and then you find out, towards the end of the mission or whatever, which person is, behind the mask or something like that. But you keep coming out with characters. There's new survivors. There's different skins for the Ghostface character. If it were a Michael Myers type game, you would do it kind of similarly to how they did the Friday the 13th game, where they keep coming out with different versions of Michael throughout his carnations, and then changing those up, making some of their own original ideas, blah blah blah. But like, you have to constantly be making that game worthwhile, and then the stuff that you get in the game once you live or once you kill all the characters, like, it needs to be worth it, right? And the only game that I've seen like that has survived, that has really given you something worth it, has been Dead by Daylight, because you wait long enough, you're going to get new survivors, you're going to get new killers. It's going to be fun to do, and it's popular, and it's a nice thing to have. Like, obviously, the game gets weird because people that play it make the game fun or not fun, depending on how they are as
Man,
people.
that has
But
got to be one of the most toxic fan bases I think I've run into.
yeah, absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
you can play
Uh,
any COD, not by any means saying they don't have a toxic fan base. Definitely had my fair of like shit talk in Call of Duty and stuff like that. Halo,
mhm.
pretty much any like competitive thing, you're gonna get some. But I swear, I feel like anytime I've played Dead by Daylight, I've got just random messages of just like people hate everything. I'm like, God, come on, like it's okay.
I will say, as
Especially if you're a
toxic
killer,
as,
oh, people are just gonna bitch about
yeah,
everything you do. Like, you can do
mhm,
nothing right. Essentially, if you get them,
yeah,
they're mad.
yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe my flashlight didn't work. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I can't
they're
believe you're
gonna bitch
camping.
about something, and so I was just
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
that kind of
everything.
was one of the turnoffs for me. Like, it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong. I like Dead by Daylight. I like the concept. Same with Friday 13th. I don't think I ran into as much toxicity, but I also didn't play as much of it.
Mhm.
But I mean, same concept. One game you didn't announce or say, it's, I think from what I've seen, they're doing a really good job of it. And I believe they're having a tech test soon. Is Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. That seems interesting, and they're definitely like paying attention to detail from what I've seen. So
I
hopefully
haven't
they do
been
some good stuff. It's the same team that did Friday 13th, I believe.
I haven't been looking into that at all because, I mean, unfortunately, it's just I've been burned so many times before. Like with Friday the 13th, I thought that was a great concept for a game, and even though I didn't play much of that, I really did enjoy it. I really did think that it was something cool. But like, it's not the developers' fault, right? Like, they had the development hell with all the movies and the legal problems and stuff going on with that behind the scenes, so they had to cease production of the game, which really sucks. But that's another thing that makes this difficult. I will say this though. Um, out of all the competitive type games that I've played, fighting, shooters, asymmetrical, all that stuff, the worst for me has been the shooting games, like solely. Like when I used to play Call of Duty and I used to play Halo and stuff, man, I've never been called out my name so much other than playing those games. Like there would be like 13-year-old kids on Xbox Live. There still are, I'm sure.
Old
But
Xbox
there'd be
lobbies,
like,
man. That shit used to be the Wild
dude,
Wild West.
man, I never heard so many N bombs in my life
Oh
from
God, dude.
people who
Racial
absolutely
slurs,
shouldn't be saying.
homophobic slurs.
Dude,
Like, it used to be so bad. I mean, it probably still is. I don't know. I honestly, one thing I do now to help me with like multiplayer games, especially streaming, because I ain't trying to hear that shit in general. But streaming, I already mute pretty much the damn lobby. I'm like, I ain't trying to hear nobody's mouth.
hmm
But back in
that
the
used to
day,
not be
yeah.
the case. But to kind of to move the conversation forward a little bit, actually, there's one more thing. There was a game that came out and had a great concept, a great gimmick, and I loved it, and it didn't last very long, and it was
Leisure
like
Suit Larry.
it was kind of like Fortnite. It was like Call of Duty, right? This is first person shooter, but it was called Gotham.
Imposters.
Gotham. Yes, Gotham Imposters.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
I didn't
played
play
the
it, but I know what you're talking about.
shit. I played the shit out of that game. I'm real bad at shooters. Like
Oh,
for
I
all you
know.
guys who don't know me, I'm terrible at first person shooters. But I played the piss out of that game, and because the gimmick was great. You're in Gotham. All the characters that you choose are either like Batman imposters and fanatics, or the Joker imposters and fanatics. And the better you do, the more shit you get, the more gear you get. You get different types of guns, you get different clown makeup, you get different Batman mask and symbols on your chest and capes and all this other shit and grappling guns and all this. And you like run around with skates on and shit. It was kind of like taking Call of Duty plus Fortnite plus like Jet Set Radio, right? And they just fused that together and gave you the game. But like I said, it didn't last very long. They didn't pay that much attention to some of the details. They didn't work on the bugs in the game very often, and it eventually failed. But like shit like that, man, give me a good gimmick, give me a good reason to keep coming back and playing the game. Like, let me earn the stuff in the game. Like, not everything needs to be a microtransaction.
Yeah.
I understand it's all about money now, but like, I
Microtransactions are like
honestly,
the thing that everybody does anymore, it feels like. Which I
yeah,
understand
I mean,
because a lot of shit's gone free
yeah,
to
I mean,
play.
as a business, if I can get literally a million teenagers to beg their parents and come through to get them to buy a fucking costume for their character
Yep.
that's $5 a piece, and I get a million people paying me
I wonder
five
how
dollars a
much
piece,
money to
I'm gonna do
date
that.
Fortnite has made. Just think about all the licensing they've done. I know they've paid a shitload for licensing. So they've had DC, they've had Marvel, they've had pretty much anything like anything pop culture relevant they get. Musicians, all kinds of stuff. But think of how much money they've brought. Especially when you buy a
Mhm.
pack. Some of them are like cheaper, some of them are $10, some of them are $20. And you see a shitload of them pretty much in every lobby. And I'm like, God, man, that's a lot of money coming in. And it's been
Yeah,
relevant for how long's Fortnite been out at this point? When did we play? Well, BR come out a little after us because I remember I played the test of it before everybody could play.
yeah, I played the hell out of the test, and I actually really liked it. And then when BR came out, I liked. Here's the thing, I
Do
liked
you
the
remember the
BR
BR
thing
test though?
for.
Like, not the save the world. Did you ever
I
do
know
the?
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
I played that stuff for like 2 or 3 days, and it wasn't for me. Like the first day I played it, I really liked it because it was different. But then when I realized that was going to be the game, that was going to be all that we were doing, and then you have to keep paying money for different things, like actual money, I was like, nah, I'm out. Because I like when I play a game, man, I'm looking for story. I'm looking for graphical capacity. Like it doesn't have to be the most beautiful game I've ever played, like to be honest. But I mean, the graphics need to make sense, right? So like I want to play something that looks nice. I want to play something that the story is great. I want to play something that has a score to it, really good music. I want to play something that has good game mechanics. If you're fighting in the game, if you're shooting in the game, I want the mechanics to be as good as they can be. I want cover mechanics. I want to be able to use different styles when I'm fighting, like all that stuff. So it's really rare nowadays to get a game that like really pays attention to that kind of stuff and gives you that. Um, you could only play games that are just story based RPGs, or games that will only take you about 8 hours to beat, unfortunately, and then you're done. That's why we get so many remakes now, right? And I'm not complaining, man. I'm half of the shit that they're remaking, I want anyway, so I'm all here for it. The last thing I'll say about games and the state of games and like what I'll look for and all that is, I obviously I'm a big horror fan. I'm a big comic book fan. So when people take those two IPs and make those into games, I'm usually on board, or at least a little bit. Um, but I, if I could say something to consumers, to the companies, like, if you don't give me a reason to play the game, like if I could just thing I want with real money on the game and not earn it in the game, then what's the point of me playing? So I'm looking for games that like allow you to earn shit. Like for an example, Mortal Kombat 11. By playing the game, you got costume pieces and different moves and fatalities and shit for your characters. Yes, you did spend money to buy characters, but you have to play the game in order to get all the shit for your character. So that's the kind of thing that I look forward to when I'm playing.
One question for you before I continue what I've been into, because I have a few more things. But so there's 3 fighters coming out this year. Right now, I'm sure there might be others that I don't know about, like maybe some indie or smaller ones or something I'm just missing. If Mortal Kombat 12 is for sure coming out, which based on the leaks and the way that did not like damage control, I'm going to say it probably is. I would heavily lean towards it's coming out. Out of the 3, which are you most excited for? You have Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 12. Just a quick answer.
Mortal Kombat.
So I'm gonna say, obviously Tekken's my least favorite of the 3. Nothing against Tekken, just I never like got as hooked. But Mortal Kombat's probably mine because I love NetherRealm. But I will say Street Fighter 6 looks really damn good. The stuff I've seen, like they're doing like an open world shit where you can run around and like obviously not
the open world
time,
thing
like,
is cool.
Yeah,
the open world thing, it's not what I'm looking forward to when I'm playing a Street Fighter game, because that's not the part that I'm.
We're gonna run around an open world together, and then I'm gonna kick you in the face by a trash can, and it's gonna start a fight, and then E Honda's gonna drop down and do some shit.
I'm excited for that. Here's the thing: the quick reasoning for why Mortal Kombat's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Tekken. I actually really like Tekken. It's definitely the hardest of all of them for me to grasp because of how the characters move. You're constantly doing this to your opponent the whole time, and you can kick the dog shit out of your opponent when they're on the ground. So like, those matches are lightning fast, right? They're lightning fast.
You like to be petty and kick people when they're down. That's what you're saying.
That's the opposite. That's why I'm saying why it's not my most favorite. The other thing with Tekken, like I said, I love Tekken. I really like most of the characters for Tekken, the designs for those characters. Like, I've been a Kazuya fan since Tekken 1. I also like Jin. Hahachi can burn in hell. Like, Yoshimitsu's awesome. Like, I love the game. I love those characters, Kuma and all them. Like,
do you plan on buying all 3?
Eventually, yeah.
MK12
but with Tekken,
sure
I'm more excited.
Street Fighter 6 for sure. Tekken, we'll see when it comes out. I'll see what I think about it.
I will most likely get Tekken like within the first week or 2 of it coming out, because I actually really like Tekken. It's been a while because Tekken 7 came out so many years ago at this point. We've been playing Tekken 7 forever. The other thing that really got me not wanting to play Tekken is the way that you get new characters. They kind of released a few characters, and then you have to keep buying new characters. And that, like I said before, I don't like that. Same thing happened with Street Fighter 5. You bought the game, and you only had like 4 or 5 characters, and then you had to keep buying a character every couple months they came out, or then pack of characters every time they came out. That's bullshit to me. I didn't want to do that. So that's why I played Street Fighter 5, because I didn't want to wait 3 years play the entire roster of the game. That's stupid. And then with They give you a roster to play with, straight up. You get a roster of characters to play with, and then you beat the game, the story mode or whatever, and then you get more characters to play with. And then on top of that, after you've played these characters, you've done their fatalities, you've gone through the story mode, you've done all this shit, then they give you other characters that you can buy and play after you've done the other stuff, not before. So that's why I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat the most, because you get the most bang for your buck immediately with Mortal Kombat. They
Unless
pay
they
attention
change
to
the
the
formula
details,
this
the
year.
combat. I mean, they could. I don't foresee them changing it that drastically because
they
of
have
the
something that
success
works.
of.
They sell a lot of copies of Mortal Kombat. I wouldn't screw it up if I'm them. Obviously, evolve the game, but don't screw up the main formula. It works. Hopefully. Christian looks so sad.
I doubt that would happen. Just like I said, they made way too much money and they got too many awards. All the shit, the positive feedback and press that they got from MK11. Why would they kind of screw themselves and change all of that for MK12? I think the biggest thing for MK12 at this point is what's the story and who are going to be the guest characters. Because everybody always wants to know who the guest character is going to be. You're going to get your comic book-like character. You're going to get your horror character. You're going to get your old school character coming back. Like, I really just want to know what the roster is going to be at this point. Mikey would be a dope villain.
Where are you at? Ghostface? I mean, you've got Leatherface. You've had Alien. You've had Predator. You've had Jason, who was so fun. And who else have you had? Who am I missing? Leatherface, Jason, Predator, Alien. Freddy was in 9.
That's true. That's very true.
So you're missing Ghostface, Michael. And...
All right, I got the list pulled up right here. You got Jason, Leatherface, Freddy, Predator. Spawn kind of counts. You had a Xenomorph.
Yep.
Some of these characters actually weren't in the game, so this list is not trustworthy.
Pinhead may be a good one because him and all his shit could definitely play into fatalities.
Who?
Pinhead.
Who? Pinhead, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
what horror character would you like to see in Mortal Kombat? That's a really good question. Obviously, as a Halloween fan, I would love Michael. Oh my God, imagine Michael. Ooh, and then after you win, he could just stand there and stare at the camera and do the little head turn. Oh shit!
I feel like in this game we're gonna get Ash Williams from Evil Dead because everybody wanted him in the last game and we didn't get him.
Could.
So I think that they'll make that happen in this one. For me, a couple of characters that I would like to see horror related. Obviously, Michael's at top of the list. I think Ghostface would be really cool. I don't really know how his moveset would be.
He'd be faster, I feel like. He'd be a little quicker to play.
Yeah, but which Ghostface they going with?
He'd be more fluid.
But which Ghostface would they pull from? Are they pulling from the original trilogy where Ghostface is real clumsy and shit? Or are they going with Ghostface from the latter half, 4, 5, 6, where he's a little more aggressive and brutal? And then also another character that I would like to see, I think they could absolutely adapt Pennywise into a game like this.
Oh, yeah, you could do Pennywise. Because he could do the fatality would be crazy for him.
Mm-hmm. He could even have some Shang Tsung shit and morph into other characters if he wanted. So I think that would be really cool. A lot of people have lobbied for Chucky from the series / movies. But the thing is with him, he's so short. How would they animate him and him not be super cheap? That's the problem.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait till we see more stuff on it and they announce it and give us a trailer and all that shit. But we're going to get back on track. Now that Christian's derailed us yet again. Good job, Christian. Something else I played is a game that I absolutely loved so very much. Platinumed it, which I don't do that for a lot of games, but there's certain games I'm damned and determined, and I'll go all out and make sure I get everything. And that was Ghost of Tsushima, and I freaking loved that game. It was beautiful, it was so much fun. But I finally checked out something I've wanted to check out with it for a while, and that would be its Legends mode. It's multiplayer. I checked it out. I've played it briefly. I definitely want to play it more. I don't know how it will go longevity wise. Like if it's something that I would play like all the time, but I mean, especially with like a friend running around as like one of the different classes they have and doing these like objectives, because I've only done the story stuff of it so far. It's been fun though. It's fun. And especially with a friend, like I was playing with my cousin, and he was going more of the assassin stealth mode, and I was the complete opposite. I was a samurai, and he was like, how do you want to play this? And I would just straight up sprint in there and just cause chaos, fighting every damn thing and starting all this shit and just completely disrupt his plans. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But there's that. I am excited to play more of it. And then the final thing that I've played, finally, I'm behind, is Evil Dead the game. And I actually played that with Christian.
Mm.
We checked it out. Another asymmetric game. It is different. This shit's actually kind of hard. I can't lie. We both were lost
the
as
learning
hell.
curve for that game is a bitch.
It was, I don't even know. We tried. It even has a BR, which I understand, and it's different, and I want to check it out more. But it's interesting that they've incorporated a BR. But honestly, the map was so damn big on that game. I was like, where are we going? What are we doing? Like, I get the concept, but we definitely need to play it more to have a better understanding. But it's cool. The lines are cool. Like, the finishing moves was cool. Tons of references to the movie, obviously. The characters, the amount of characters they had in there was cool. There was people from the movies, people from the show. The Deadites look good. There was so much stuff that we were like, what the hell is happening, though? Both of us were just kind of like, what is going on? Christian got possessed like 5 times and kept trying to kill people.
And they don't. So what I'll tell you, like, for those of you who haven't played the game, you got to do the tutorial when you start off. But I don't remember in the tutorial at all them being like, hey, by the way, not only can you get possessed, but your character is going to be too scared to do fucking anything half the time you're playing the game. So I'm just
They
like,
showed
what
you
am I
fear.
supposed to
I think
do?
it was when you got the dagger in like one of the pages. They were talking about your fear level.
I know that you had to get like matches and light a fire and shit. And I was just like, do I need to literally run off and go light a fucking fire so my character will calm down? And I'm assuming that's just what you got to do. So that part was absolutely a vicious bastard to get past.
We'll definitely
sure.
play it more and let you guys know. It's been out a long time. I'm really late getting around to playing it. Same with Christian, but I mean, it wasn't bad. I didn't not enjoy my experience. I just need to get more acquainted and familiar with everything, I think, for the most part. And then the last thing is something we'll be talking about in length once we both have watched it, but I have watched I think both episodes of The Mandalorian, the new season. Christian hasn't. And real briefly, I think my problem is I'm not as into The Mandalorian currently because The Last of Us is out. And because The Last of Us has been so good, which The Mandalorian has been great to this point, but because Last of Us is so good, going over to Mandalorian, I'm just not as invested right now. I feel like I'm more like into Last of Us, if that makes sense. So I'm like kind of like
Well,
halfway.
I actually heard that the first episode to come back was really good. And then the second episode wasn't that great. I can't speak for that because I haven't seen them.
We'll
That's
talk
just
about it
what I
more at length
saw.
once we've watched it. More than likely, it'll probably be after, it may be next episode or the episode after once The Last of Us is done, because Last of Us has been the meat and potatoes of our episodes here lately. So we'll talk about that more. But what have you been into this past week?
This past week, I haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been real busy with real life stuff. So I haven't done very much. I did watch the new episode of Last of Us, which we'll talk about here shortly. But I've been drawing a lot this week and reading a lot this week. So I don't have much to show you guys for drawing because I've been doing a lot of, quick sketches. But as far as reading goes, I have another huge book to get through, and it's called Reign of Chucky. And it's very, very similar to the book I showed you guys, I want to say last week, which is called Taking Shape. It's written by the same people, same company does this. So the same kind of thing that you get from the Taking Shape books for the Michael Myers material, Halloween material, you get out of this one. And it goes over everything for the Chucky films. And I think it goes from Child's Play, the original, up into The last movie before the remake came out, I want to say, is as far as we get in this. And actually, I'm not sure on that. I could be lying to you guys right now, and I apologize. But I think that's as far as they get in this before things started changing. Yeah. So you go from Child's Play 1 all the way to Cult of Chucky. So you get Curse and Cult in here. You don't have the show, you don't have the remake, which makes a lot of sense why they wouldn't add that. But yeah, man, I'm really liking this book right now. I'm almost done with reading everything from the first movie. As you can see, I just started this and I've been doing a lot of other stuff. But there is that, and then aside from that, we've been talking about Scream a lot today, kind of, or Ghostface. At the time of this recording, it is Scream 6 Day essentially, and I'm going to go see that tonight. I'm going on a little date, and I'm going to go see that movie tonight. So I'm hoping that it's exactly what I want it to be, what I need it to be, and I'll let you guys know what I think about it the next time I see you on the next episode.
I hope it's good. I really do. I hope it continues. The last one was good. I hope they don't drop the ball.
And
I'm curious to see it.
But yeah, man, that's all I got. That's all I got for this week. That's what I've been doing.
All right. Well, we have a tiny bit of news. It's really not much news, but pretty much it's confirmed. Jon Bernthal will be Punisher in the new Daredevil, Disney Plus Daredevil show, Daredevil Reborn. Is that correct? Is that the name of it? I think it is.
Born Again.
Born Again. Okay. So I knew it was something born. But the new Daredevil show, Jon Bernthal's come back, Punisher.
Cool. Daredevil, Jason Bourne.
Yeah, Jason Bourne, Daredevil. But he's coming back. I think, hadn't he already confirmed to possibly doing a Punisher show or something?
I'm not sure about the Punisher show. I do know that he is coming back, and they've got, I think her name, Kristen Ritter is coming back as well.
So it's gonna keep him as Punisher. He works. Marvel, just leave it alone. The same, don't touch Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Leave that alone, too. I think they kind of already established they're leaving him as Daredevil. You need to. Like, they're good.
Yeah, the only thing now is to think, what are they going to change? Like, the tone of this isn't going to be the same, right? So they're definitely going to change the tone of it. So, sorry I'm yawning. I really hope that they don't.
Because the Punisher series and Daredevil series are so good. Do not ruin it, please.
I mean, you already got a little taste of that, right, in the She-Hulk series. So hopefully that's not.
It's gonna be more the route we're going. I already know. Damn it, Marvel! Why you gotta do me like this? But do you have any other news before we get to stuff?
That's absolutely it for me.
Absolutely it. All right, it's time for episode 8 of The Last of Us. I mentioned last week I have a surprise. Obviously, I don't have it this week, but I don't know that there'll be any left for the final episode review of Last of Us for episode 9. But me and the missus have found the wine that Frank and Bill drank, that pairs well with a rabbit. And we have stuck it back and have been waiting for the final episode to drink it. So we're going to drink that wine with the last episode. And I can't wait. We're not going to have rabbit, sadly, to pair well with, but
why not?
I don't know, because I don't feel like going to
get out there and hunt, bro. You got a bow and arrow somewhere, right?
I mean, I'll go make one. I've been playing survival. I've played survival games. I know how to make one with some sticks.
Just going to get a couple sticks.
I'm just going to get a couple sticks, and I'm going to build a whole, contraption. But all right,
all you got to do.
Episode 8. I'm just gonna let you go in. Trying to think. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think,
let's do it then.
I don't know if this episode's up there to me on some of the best episodes. I was waiting on this episode because this is a part in the game that's very, very memorable. And also, I feel like as far as The Last of Us Part 1, we have to clarify, goes, this is the best villain they have. Just because from a hatred standpoint, I remember being like, this piece of shit. And like, there's nothing but pure hatred towards them. For me. The whole time, I was like, oh yeah, you're getting all this murderings coming.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And you'll definitely, if you haven't watched the episode and you're just listening to find out, you'll definitely find out in a minute because stuff goes down. There are some deviations, a lot of Easter eggs again, and yeah, we'll let Christian get into it.
Yeah, as far as the deviations and Easter eggs go, I'll try to talk about most of that after the fact, because to avoid talking even longer than we've already talked, I'm going to try to just go through the episode and then we'll jump into that. But the episode eight's titled "When We Are in Need" is the title of the episode, and we start off the episode at Silver Lake, and when the episode starts off and we're at this place, Silver Lake, we get a Bible quote immediately. And if you start off anything in a show, in a movie, in an isolated place, and there's scripture being read, it's not good. It's never a good thing in these movies or in these shows. But there's a quote from the Bible. It's from the book of Revelation. And I just knew immediately, like, first of all, playing the game, but, watching it, with the misses, we immediately knew it wasn't going to be good. And for those of you who call me out when I'm doing these reviews, you guys would be like, "Well, what verse from the Bible is it, Christian?" And let me tell you guys, I'm not 100% positive, but I think it's from 21:4 from Revelations. So, and it's been a long time since I picked up a Bible and decided I wanted to just kill a couple of days reading it. So I could be wrong on that. I apologize if I am. But anyway, when we meet David and he's reading the Bible, I don't know if you saw this, Sin, but did you peep his ring? It looked like the ring that the Pope wears.
No.
Did you see that?
Uh-uh.
When you watch it again or see pictures of him online or whatever, like check out his ring. It totally looks like the ring that the Pope wears, like in current day. So I thought that was interesting, and says a lot about his character immediately going into the episode. For those of you who have seen it and hear rumors about the Catholic faith and stuff, all that, which hopefully we won't get too much into because I don't want to get canceled. So moving forward, almost all of his followers, all the people at Silver Lake, I don't know if you caught this either, but they all have like really biblical names. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a lot of biblical names from this. David, James, Josiah, Grace, I think is somebody's name. Like there's a lot of that going on. And then we see Troy motherfucking Baker as James. I know we talked about him last week and probably every week before that, excuse me. But Troy Baker, for those of you who don't know, is the mocap / voice actor for Joel in the original game. He is also the voice of countless other game characters. He's been the Joker several times. He's been pretty much every first player experience game that you've played over the last 10 years. He's probably
dude has lined up a lot of work, like a lot more than I thought, honestly.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
He's kind of like this generation's Jason Blum, right? Because Jason Blum is in every fucking thing. He's the guy who he does the voice of every character in every anime ever. He was Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop. He was Mugen in Samurai Champloo. He's been everybody. He's been Magneto in the X-Men Evolution movie, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But he's been fucking everyone. He's been in everything. And then now Troy Baker is taking that mantle up and he's in everything. So it was really good to see him just act and not be a voice.
In the interview? I think they were trying to ask him about him playing Joel and stuff like that. And he was like, look, I would have been happy just being a clicker. But I got to be James and like actually do some stuff and like have like a role. He's like, I was ecstatic. Like, dude, yeah. I love Troy Baker.
Humble, dude.
Big fan of him.
That's what I'm talking about. Moving on. The guy that Joel killed, we learn. The guy that Joel killed at the end of the last episode 7, we learn is Grace's dad. Grace is a young girl who is in
episode
this.
6.
I'm sorry, 6, because 7 was the flashback
all the
episode.
Left Behind.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, that was Grace's dad. She's a young girl in David's group. And we learn pretty quickly how fucked up this group is. So we'll get into that here in a bit. But she asks essentially when they can bury her dad because they brought him back after he was killed, and Joel and Ellie ran off. And the excuse is they can't bury him because it's too cold to dig. The ground is too cold to dig, and we quickly find out it's because they about to eat his ass, bruh. Like, it's insane. As soon as he kind of darts his eyes, like David darts his eyes over to James, Troy Baker's character, you know that something really jacked up is happening. And yeah, he gives her the BS excuse. They're going to wait till spring to give him a proper burial. Like, I don't know,
AKA, we're
man.
about to put
But
him
yeah,
in
they're
some
totally
soup.
going to eat him. Man, they about to eat the shit out of this guy. That's crazy. Also, I noticed this is in the game as well, and I forgot about it. But their little meeting area is at Todd's Steakhouse, which I thought was really funny because they're totally eating people.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really funny. And when I was watching the episode, I was like, "Oh, get it? Like people steaks. Todd is people. People steaks. We're eating people."
God.
Anyway,
I think
that
the
was
name's a
little
little
humor
different in the
from me. I
game
thought
than
it was
Todd's
funny.
Steakhouse. Maybe it's like Todd's Restaurant or something. It's something Todd, though.
No, it's definitely Todd's Steakhouse. That's straight
I
out the
thought
game.
it was something different than Steakhouse, though, like a slight deviation. I don't know.
You
I'll
might
look
have
it
to
up.
look that one up, and
You keep going.
yeah, I'll keep going. Ellie goes hunting because her and Joel are hungry. Joel's all fucked up and he needs medicine, so she goes out hunting. She shoots a deer. She tries to shoot a rabbit. That doesn't work. Runs off. She shoots a deer and it runs off as well. And then that's when she runs into David and James. I will say I really enjoyed this section of the show because it is pulled directly from. It's damn near exactly the same. And she empties their guns. I don't know if you noticed that, but she empties their guns so they can't shoot her in the back or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. And that moment, I think, is also in the game as well. I could be wrong on that. James goes to get medicine for Ellie, which is the penicillin, while David and her talk. He invites her to his group. And then we learn that David found God after the pandemic, which is very peculiar. Typically, people lose faith if something like that happens, but he gained faith. And we'll learn more about that as the episode progresses because it is fucked up. Moving forward, though, James comes back with the medicine and he's ready to shoot Ellie in the back. David lets her go with the medicine. And I immediately want to talk about how this moment is different from the game, but I'm going to try to stick to what I said earlier and talk about that after we're done here because I have some thoughts. But he's questioned. David is questioned by James, like why he let her go and all that stuff. And James pretty much lets him know that he knows that she's not a part of a large group like she claims to be, and that she will eventually lead them to Joel, which is the person that they are looking for. So Ellie gives Joel the penicillin. She gives him a shot like directly in his wound. And I was like, Joel's better than me because I'd be whining like a little bitch if somebody gave me a shot directly in my stab wound. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. But moving on, after she does that, I kind of lost my place in my notes.
Apologies to
Oh,
those
I'm
watching on
sorry.
YouTube.
She's
We just
giving
had
him.
technical issues. The camera stuff just went haywire, but it should be cleared up now. I think I fixed it.
That's very strange. I didn't even catch that myself because I was.
Oh no,
talking.
it wasn't you. Like our feed for the YouTube, like it just completely shit itself and like messed up and wouldn't fix. So I cut the feed off for a minute.
That's
and had to
really
fix it.
funny.
So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. Gotta love it. Technical issues while recording is what it is.
All the time, right? All
Yeah,
the time.
always happens.
We can't catch a break. But anyway, while she's giving Joel the penicillin, we see that the group is eating around that same time, and it's I'm trying to keep my thoughts together instead of going on rants about what's happening because so much is happening in this. But anyway, while she's giving him the medicine, the group is eating venison, aka people meat, and they all, I don't know if you noticed this, but nobody eats until David says grace and also starts to eat. So they wait for him to bless the food, and once he starts, everybody can start eating, and that's crazy. Actually, no. They started eating, I think, before him, but they did wait for him to bless the food. So that's what it was. Sorry about that. I wrote that down incorrectly, which is crazy. But we see that David and James, before everybody eats and all that, they arrive and they bring in the deer that Ellie killed because they stole her deer, and he immediately addresses the rumors that people have been going on about them finding Ellie and Joel being out there and all that, and he let them go and all this stuff. And Hannah, I believe, is her name. I said Grace earlier, but I think I meant Hannah, so I apologize. Hannah is yeah. I'm sorry. So when I said Grace earlier, I totally meant Hannah. Grace is the woman who's helping cook the people meat, and she doesn't know that it's people meat. That's what that is. So Hannah asks about. She's pretty much saying we should kill them both. We should kill Ellie. We should kill Joel. They killed my dad. I want vengeance on that. Blah blah blah. And super nice old David walks right up to her and slaps the fucking taste out of her mouth, dude. When that scene happens, me and the missus were just like, oh shit. He really slapped a whole, he slapped the privilege clean out of her mouth. I don't know what else to say for that. But that happens. After he slaps the dog shit out of her, he pretty much does it because he's saying that she's speaking over him while he's talking, and she's talking about vengeance. And no one tries to stop this. Once he slaps the fucking shit out of her and starts talking to her, nobody does anything. They just kind of sit there and let it happen, which I thought was really crazy. So he kind of gives her the speech about how even though she, her dad has passed, think of him as her dad, blah, blah, blah. It's really fucking weird, especially when you get to later in the episode and what David's most likely doing to all of the young women in this group. It's fucking insane. But we'll move on. We'll get there. We'll eventually get there. Joel is healing very slowly, and Ellie gives him another shot of penicillin, and then she even feeds the horse. She gathers a bunch of snow because it's going to be water, duh, and she goes to give that to the horse, so the horse isn't just sitting there dying, which I thought was really cool. It's a nice attention to detail. But she's alerted to danger by birds. We see birds kind of scattering. She's alerted to David's group because they are back looking for her and Joel. Ellie rushes back to Joel, gives him a knife, pretty much tells him exactly what's going on as quickly as she can, and then says she's going to lead them away. So she does everything in her power to get them away from Joel. This is the only part of the episode, the only part of the show, actually, where I'm just like, I don't really buy this. I don't really buy this at all, but I still like it because it's from a character that I really, really like. And I'm going to get there in just a moment. Before I get there, I'm just going to say, Ellie,
you know how you talk about attention to detail?
Yeah.
And pretty much every week we say that the missus or somebody will ask a question, be like, how is this going to happen? Or how would this be? And we have the audio or the video issue again. What the hell? That's so weird. Anyways, so yeah, you lost the camera.
You kind of broke up on my end when you said that. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. So every week we have essentially something that goes on, and usually my missus will be like, well, how does this happen? This week it was when Ellie shot the deer. She was like, how the hell is she gonna get that back? And there's always these questions that a lot of times shows don't necessarily address, and I feel like Last of Us expects it, and they're like, how's she gonna get this back? And then immediately it's like David and them are like, you can't carry this back, we can help you and stuff like that. And they do that a lot throughout the show, a lot. Dude, I don't understand why this is doing this. So apologies if you are watching on YouTube. Stuff is being quite dumb, but it is what it is.
Still acting up.
Should be back now. I don't know why it keeps doing it. There we go. YouTube, you should have your feedback. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But I just want to bring that up. Weird. They do that, and this is not the first time. They have done it literally the entire season. Well, things that practical sense, you would be like, well, how would that work? They'll explain it immediately, we know, we're addressing it. This makes sense. Just hear us out kind of deal.
They don't address one thing in the show, and it's the thing that I'm going to kind of nitpick here in just a second. I just got to get through this one part. So if we jump back into the show, Ellie shoots at the group that's with David as she's trying to escape on the horse to lead them away from Joel, but James is a crack shot, I guess, and shoots the horse, kills it immediately, and Ellie falls off the horse, and she's knocked almost completely unconscious. She's still kind of in and out, but she's helpless at this point. There's nothing she can do. Um, and David is not directly in front of these guys. He's said before a couple of times that he wants Ellie alive. They don't. They want her dead. They don't want to feed anybody else. And I think it's also kind of a mercy killing because they know what's going to be happening to Ellie, and also they need more meat, right? So, a couple things going on with that. But to move on from that, when she's knocked out and David wants her alive, James kind of raises his gun to straight up defy his orders to kill Ellie, but David intervenes, shoots his gun up in the air, everybody stops, and then he tells them to hunt down Joel. Um, he tells two people to come with him and drag the horse because they're going to use the horse for meat, obviously, and the other people to go and get Joel because they want vengeance so bad. Now is their chance to get it. Now, this is the part that I was talking about where I didn't quite believe what was going on because at this point we see that Joel's having a hard time moving around and shit, which makes perfect sense because he's healing. But when a guy finds a little hiding spot that Ellie has made for Joel in this basement, he's gone, and then he sneaks up behind the guy and stabs him and kills him. The reason why I'm saying I don't necessarily buy this is because right after that scene, Joel is like ready to go. He's like damn near back to being 100%. So that's the only part of this where I'm just calling bullshit because unless Ellie just had like a handful of ibuprofen or something, like I just
I
don't
don't think
see
he's close
him
to
being able to.
100%. He was definitely still like wobbling around.
In the part that's coming up immediately after what I just said, he only kind of hobbles around a little bit because he knocks out two guys because Joel is a fucking beast, as we know from just
It's
seeing
probably
him in the
a
show.
lot of adrenaline and like that shepherd protector thing coming out in him hardcore.
I like that you brought the shepherd.
I mean, essentially
back.
he
I'm
is.
pretty
Though.
sure
It is a good like analogy for him.
Yeah, and David also uses that to describe himself later in the episode.
David's a shepherd, all right. He's something. God,
I tell you what David is. He's a
shit.
sack of shit.
Yeah,
is
that's
what he
the best way to describe David. David's.
Did we say that at the same time?
Oh my.
That's hilarious. But Joel fucks up the first guy, ties up two other guys, and then gets info out of them the same way he got info out of the older couple from 2 episodes back. But he's actually like killing these guys. He stabs a dude like in between his kneecap and is like, "I'm gonna pop your kneecap clean out," which is really fucked up. But also like, fuck yeah, dude, they were gonna totally kill you. So fuck these guys. That's how I felt anyway. But he asked the guy to point on the map where they are and point on the map where they're going to be, where he needs to go to get Ellie back.
He's more
Joel tells him, and then,
with them than he is when Ellie's around. Like he can
absolutely
be more of his dark self. I don't really know how to describe violent self that he has to be in this world. Yeah, he can just
tap right into that Punisher mentality that he has. He can just tap right back into it. Which was cool to see because, like I said, we don't get to see much of that because he's usually trying to, save Ellie from all of that unnecessary violence. Is the way that he sees it anyway because she's so young. But man, I gotta say, the part where he kills the guy after he gets the information and he was like, "He told you everything. He told you the truth. Blah blah blah," and he's like, "I believed him." And then he just kills the guy, dude. Like he just beats the shit out of him
with a pipe.
With that pipe, man. I was like, yo, this shit right here is chef's kiss. It's prime Joel right here, and I really enjoyed that.
That
movie.
interrogation is more like the game that we see, and we referenced that I think 2 weeks ago during that episode with the older couple. The interrogation
Mhm.
was kind of similar with the point. This one is more like what you see in the game from both Joel in the first part and Ellie in the second part. She does something similar.
Yeah. I forgot about that, actually. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Moving on, Ellie wakes up in a cage. And if you're paying attention, you see a bunch of butcher tools behind her where David walks in. So I don't know if you caught that, but I
Which
was
makes sense. It's a
definitely looking for
steakhouse.
that.
There should be butcher tools there. Just saying.
And because we're making people steaks.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, that. But I'm
Makes
just
sense.
saying it's the thing is set up for cutting meat at a steakhouse too, potentially.
Yeah, once that happens, he offers her to join them while she's trying, and she says no. Ellie's being Ellie, super smart ass and all that stuff, and pretty much telling him to go fuck himself and all that. And while she's trying to escape, she notices something that we don't see immediately, and then we see it once David walks in the room, and it's a human ear, just a severed ear hanging out on the ground. And David immediately doesn't deny it. He's just like, yeah, we fucking eat people out here. Not everybody knows, but I would have told you though. And it's just like, you already got caught. What do you mean I was going to tell you? It's too late now. Like, plus who gives a shit? It's people. I'm not eating people. And that's pretty much what Ellie says. She's like, you guys are fucking sick. You're monsters. All this. It rightfully so. Her reaction was, in my opinion, a little bit mild because all of the crazy shit she's seen, like that's one of the craziest things. And it's crazy. She is disgusted by this. He proposes a partnership to her, but if you watch the episode and listen to what he's saying, it's not just a partnership in that sense. It's more so a marriage, right? Like he likes Ellie and he definitely wants her to be a part of his team, but as his equal is what he says. And I'm just kind of, as an adult man, what other man sees a 13-year-old girl
14
or 14-year-old girl?
I was about to say, how old do you think he is? I'm gonna say 40s.
He's got, dude. You saw how his hair was thinning and shit like that.
At
And
least
that beard
40s,
was
right?
looking like it was. He's got to be in his 40s for sure. He's about Joel's age,
So you
if
think
not
a
older,
40
right? So
something year old man, maybe 50s, we don't know, and a
he's
14-year-old
younger than Joel.
girl.
Sorry, because we know how old Joel is. But yeah, either way, like it's pretty fucked up. But like, how are you gonna see a 13, 14-year-old girl as your equal? Like, no, absolutely not. We know exactly what you want from this child, and it's fucking disgusting, my dude.
Yep.
It's disgusting. So there is that. Just thinking about it, just
Dirty.
it makes me want to throw up in my mouth. It is dirty, yes. Thank you. That's a great way to say that. It's fucking filthy, dude. Anyway, once he proposes this partnership of sorts, Ellie kind of leans into it a little bit, and you're thinking to yourself as a viewer, like, oh my God, is she going to say yes to this? But if you've been watching any of the episodes of this show, or if you played the game at all, you know for a fact Ellie's not going to be down with that
Ellie's
shit.
a little shit.
So she grabs
ain't
his
doing
fucking,
that.
she grabs his finger and breaks the shit out of his finger. And obviously she doesn't get away scot-free. He does grab her and bang her face into the metal bars of the cage that she's in. And it looks like he breaks her fucking nose, to be honest. Like, I don't know
We see
what
our
you got from
first
that, but it looked.
our first real glimpse of. I've seen the internet call it this. I've never heard it before, but they calling her Belly. Have you heard of that? I guess it's like, I don't know if it's like
No.
Badass Ellie or Bad Ellie or what, but where she's kind of like goes into that mode that those that play the game know, like she gets pretty damn rough.
Yeah.
So you get a first glimpse of that little badass that she is. One thing that he says that she has, wasn't it a violent heart? Is that the phrase?
She has a violent heart, violent nature,
And
just
then
like
he said something about
yeah.
like I've had it for years and I've dealt with it, which kind of insinuates that he's a huge piece of shit now. And he also says he was a school teacher, which shows that he's probably liked younger people for a long time and done some not good things if he's been battling with it.
Well, here's the thing, though. I was gonna get into this after I was done with the episode, but in that same conversation, what I took from it was he's always wanted to be this person, this kind of pedophilic, monstrous person, but he's been holding it back his whole life because of society's rules and the law and all this stuff. But now that that's gone, there is no police, there's no jail time. If you do some crazy fucked up shit, he can just do whatever the fuck he wants. And he uses well, he says this later in the episode, but he uses religion because that's what people need. They need a dad, they need a religious
Something
figure,
to
a
believe in to
father
make
to
him feel
look up
better.
to. Yeah, so he has made himself out to be this kind of herald, if you will, of
What
God,
is it?
because that's
He's
what the
like
people believe.
he believes in cordyceps. He like has a weird thing of
Yeah,
the way he words that.
he worships cordyceps, the
Yeah.
virus, and I'll get into that
Okay.
briefly here in just a second, actually. But after Ellie gets her face all busted up and shit, and he leaves the cage, we find out right after that is when David kind of tells us that he worships the virus because cordyceps is all about love and protecting its family. And he thinks, in his twisted, antiquated sense of morality, that cordyceps is just another thing, another entity that is doing everything in its power to protect its family and to show its love to its family. And he worships that about the virus. And it's really, really fucked up. And it gives us even more insight to how he treats young women in particular. Like, not only is he eating people, but he is absolutely like schmaping these young women and just committing horrible acts of assault. Like, it's so fucked up. Like you said earlier, it's really fucking dirty.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to describe it for sure. But yeah, man, it's super jacked up, and we see after this that Joel is making his way there. Slowly yet surely, he's making his way. This is back when we see Joel again, and he actually looks like he's still hurting. So he goes from, I'm assuming, just being jacked the fuck up on penicillin and adrenaline to fucking these dudes up, to back to being like, oh my god, and like he's walking and shit like you would expect him to be because he got fucking stabbed. So that's happening again. But like I said, he's making his way there. And it makes you feel good watching it because you're like, oh man, Daddy Joel's going to show up and help. And right after that, we see that he finds Ellie's bag, that she always has on her pretty much all the time. And then he sees their dead horse, which is really fucking sad. And then he uses his flashlight to kind of look up and sees a bunch of hanging bodies that have been decapitated, drained of blood, stripped of some meat. Like, it's gross. It's fucking grody. So it's 100% confirmed at this point that they are absolutely eating people. Only a handful of people know that they're eating other people. James is a part of this, and they also probably know that he is schmaping young women, and I think that's why James wanted to kill Ellie so bad, because he was trying to, in his own way, protect her from the trauma that was inevitable when it comes to David. So there is that. Then if we move on a little bit more, we see David and James. They come back in to grab Ellie so that they can butcher her for meat. And Ellie's screaming, and it sucks, dude. It's hard to watch because I believe Bella Ramsey as Ellie in this, like I always do. But like I'm in the scene. I'm believing what's happening. I'm scared for her. I know what's going to happen because I played the game. But in the moment, you're in it. You're scared for her. You're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? She's fighting for her life. She can't get out. She's saying, no, please don't do this. All kinds of shit. And at this point, she starts to scream that she's infected, and they don't believe her. Neither one of them believe her. And then she says, check my arm, check my arm. And they pull up her sleeve, and they see that she is in fact infected. There is a bite mark there that's weird. It's healed up very strangely. And while they are in a conversation about that, she takes any opportunity she can get to grab a cleaver from James, and then she cleaves James in the neck piece, and we just see just blood gushing out of his neck. He's fucking done, bro. There's no way he's coming back from that. And with that, opportunity, she runs off, and we see David shooting at her but missing because, of course, he has stormtrooper aim right now, and he misses both shots, even though Ellie was like, I don't know, 2-3 feet in front of him. Whatever. So he misses, and she gets away. And at this point, what are you thinking when you see this part, Sin? What's going through your mind right now once you see her just barely get away from getting chopped up after saying she's infected? What's going through your
having
mind?
PTSD from the game in this boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Creeping around
mm-hmm.
the damn tables, trying not to step on plates and stabbing that asshole in the neck. And
I got to tell you, I definitely stepped on plates. The first one was two times I tried to fight this boss and got punished for it.
You get punished quick. Like, if you fuck up in the game, he gets you. Like, he's on it. And I remember just like, oh God, this boss fight. It's a very memorable one because there's so much anger in this boss fight because you know what he is and what he's trying to do. And,
yeah. So David is searching for her, and she throws a fucking torch at him. And even though it's different from the game, this is how Todd's Steakhouse catches fire.
Which is the same name as the game. I looked it up. For some reason, I was thinking it was something added onto it besides Todd's Steakhouse. I thought maybe it was like Todd's Steakhouse and Bar or something, but I guess not. I thought there was a little subtle difference, but it was close. But I guess not.
It seems like you've learned that sometimes you should just trust me. I get it now. I get it. It's totally fine. But anyway, during this cat and mouse game that's happening while this fucking building is on fire, mind you, he doesn't believe that she's infected, and he says that because of how hard she's fighting to stay alive. Also, he doesn't want to kill her. He wants to be her daddy. Take that any way you want, because that's what he says, essentially. Is it gross? Absolutely, it's gross. Ew, nasty. Because we know what that means. 100% he's giving off sexual assault vibes here. Just really schmapey fucking vibes coming off of this guy. And during their scuffle, because he does catch up with Ellie, during their scuffle, she finds a cleaver and just fucking starts hacking away at this guy. She finds that cleaver and she helps David finish with all his living very brutally. And I was fucking here for it.
When they're scuffling, he gets on top of her and he starts.
Oh, he does.
It kind of
he
starts like unbuttoning his pants or something, and I was just like, "Oh, this dirty bastard!" And that's when she gets the cleaver.
That's in my
fucks his entire life up, and it is so satisfying.
It is. I actually wrote about that in my like side notes, so I'll go into that. But yeah, dude, it's fucking dirty.
He deserved every one of those hits.
Every single one. I even counted how many times she cleaved.
I mean, she went straight slasher. Like, what was it?
Like Scream,
Halloween,
like Scream 5, Scream 2022.
Rob Zombie Halloween, kind of just like anger nonstop, just beating the hell out of him.
It mirrored what Joel did to that security guard on the first episode at the end of it.
Just like a blackout won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Get it. I get.
She shouldn't stop. She should probably still be going right now. Like David.
Outside in the snow, we see that Joel finds Ellie and he walks up behind her and she's super fucked up and is like, don't touch me. And he lets her know several times, like, it's me. And then he calls her baby girl. Like, that got me, bro. That fucking got me. He calls her baby girl. And then you see a close up of him and his broken watch. And I thought that was a really good, that's some really good symmetry there. So I like seeing that. And they walk off together, and the episode just ends like that. There's a lot going on in this. This was the shortest episode of the season, but it was a lot happening in this episode for sure. And some things that I wrote down that I'll get into just real quick, so for the sake of time. In the game, David isn't religious. He's not a religious man. They added that to the show, and it added to his character and how creepy he is in the game. So I really, really enjoyed the changes that they made to his character in this game. They were fantastic, warranted, and they made him much more of a scumbag, but in the best way, for our entertainment value, that is. Um, she hunts a rabbit in the game with the bow and arrow, not Joel's rifle. She has a bow and arrow, not the rifle. And her hunting the rabbit, the white rabbit, we see that a lot. It's been memed to death. But there's a famous like GIF, I guess, or video of a streamer playing the game, watching that scene out, really liking this cute little bunny rabbit. Then it gets fucking shot by Ellie, and then she like cries on stream. You remember that?
I can't stop laughing. Every time I see that, that cracks me up. Just that squeak that streamer gives, a little. Just, I die every time. Like, so I thought that was really horror game. How are you going to be sitting there staring at a bunny, like all happy, like this is going to be like a happy-go-lucky game?
You know, as soon as they showed you this beautiful white bunny in this white snow, you knew it was about to get fucked, bro. You knew.
It cracks me up every time.
Another difference in the game, Ellie and David get attacked by a swarm of infected, and there's even a bloater in this swarm that they get in this swarm of infected that they get attacked by, and Ellie's getting ready to get killed actually by a clicker, and David shoots it in the head to reveal that he's had a hidden gun on him this whole time, but he chose not to use it on Ellie because he wanted to talk to her and hear her out and all that stuff. So it's like a bonding moment for them in the game before you realize that he's a piece of shit, because Ellie starts to trust him a little bit during that. She's like, "You had another gun the whole time?" Like that's told that all of that's in the game, and they took it out. Well, like I said, it makes sense why they took it out. But you know, some of those moments are missed sometimes. But if we move on, when Ellie wakes up in that cage and finds that ear, that's different from the game. In the game, as soon as Ellie wakes up, David is straight up chopping up a body like right in front of her. He don't give a fuck about hiding that. So I thought that was odd why they changed it, but after watching the episode in its entirety, I'm really glad that they did change it, because if I hadn't played the game before, the reveal of them eating people subtly is way better than him just chopping up a fucking body. So I really, really like that.
They definitely give you context clues if you're paying attention, even if you hadn't played the game before, like just how people act about the meat. Like, people know.
Yeah, and the close-ups that they have on the bowls and people eating it and shit, and how
what is it when she's making the stew and she gets the meat and it's just like it's venison, in the way they kind of look at each other about it, and then it's just like and then pour it in, like both know.
She's like, "What is it? What is it? Venison." That's pretty much what happens, and it's just like, bro, you a damn
the way they
lie.
do it.
Come
if
on.
you're paying attention, you can tell like shit's a miss.
Absolutely. And then, like you were saying earlier, David definitely does like unbutton his pants, and you hear kind of like faintly the zipping of his zipper when he's on top of Ellie before he gets fucking schmurdered, rightfully so. And when she is cleaving the shit out of his monstrous ass, I counted 22 stabs.
I mean, she went ham.
Don't know if that means
anything.
She was
swinging.
Yeah, in the game, she only does it 10 times, so they up that because in the show, he's even more, well, kind of more of a creeper. So I enjoyed that. But also in the game, when she's cleaving the fucking piss out of David, Joel does step in while she's doing it to kind of calm her down.
Yeah.
And she's like, he tried to, and he's like, it's okay, baby girl. Like, that's when we get that moment.
The embrace happens in the restaurant instead of outside, pretty much in this.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that. I like the changes they made in the show. Like I said, it's more suspenseful. It's a little bit more dramatic, but in a good way. And it doesn't take away from the story at all. It just improves on what was already there. So I really, really enjoy what they did with this. I can't wait for the next episode. I purposely didn't watch anything for the next episode because when I go to watch this, I think this is the finale. So when I go to watch this, I just want to see how they're going to do it. I just play the game. I know how it's going to go in the game, but I just want to see them do it in here, see what happens.
Yeah, next episode is going to be it's going to be fun.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Trying to think if there's anything. They mimic the dialogue. I'm not sure. Can't remember if you said anything about that. But whenever it's David and Ellie, the game dialogue of them kind of talking back and forth in the show and game is pretty identical. Even down to the shed or whatever, the house, whatever the hell that thing is, them sitting there, it's identical. Did you get... Okay, spoiler. If you haven't played Last of Us 2, literally skip like a minute. Did you get... what was her name? Grace? I think? No. Hannah.
Do you mean the little girl?
Yeah,
you mean the little girl?
Hannah's her name, I think.
Hannah.
Did you get Abby vibes? She's not Abby. 100% not Abby. But a grieving girl that, like, is kind of aggressive without going too
Yeah,
detail.
I did. And I think that was by design.
Yeah,
I didn't get it
100%.
immediately. I didn't get it immediately, to be honest with you. I thought about that after I saw the episode and was, writing notes and shit. But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned the Revelation thing. It kind of like keeps the theme of Last of Us. Like,
yeah.
It definitely like mirrors what they're going for. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. It was a great episode. David, the actor, did a great job. You definitely despise David, rightfully so, because he's awful. They did change some things. Makes sense because it gives it more of a cult feel. And one thing I will say, if you come across a resort in The Last of Us, that shit's gonna be awful. I'm pretty sure there's a resort in Last of Us Part 2, and it's not a good place also. Like, resorts are opposite of what they would be in, like, this modern, non-apocalyptic time. And then one other thing I will say, in The Last of Us, if you meet anybody other than Joel and Ellie, just don't trust them. DTA. Just pull that DTA mentality, because you can't trust nobody in this damn world, pretty much. But it was a fantastic episode. The series hit a high of 8.1 million viewers, up 74% on this episode. Like, the series just keeps crushing its own marks it's hitting. Like, it's just growing.
Very true. Really quickly, I just got alerted to some video game news literally just now. And the Justice League, or the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game apparently is getting delayed again.
Yep. Yeah, it's getting pushed back. It was come out in May, and I think it's getting pushed back to, I forget when.
Yeah, it just says later this year, so I'm sure that'll be
Starfield also
it'll
got
either
that.
be.
I think Starfield's come out.
What's that?
Starfield, the Xbox game. Is it Starfield? Is that what it's called?
Mm.
It was supposed to come out like first quarter, I think, this year, and it's being pushed till September, I think. They're having like a direct or something in June, but yeah, it got pushed back too.
I mean, I would expect the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game to probably come out late summer, early fall is what I think it'll come out. Yeah. Is when I think it'll come out.
But, yep.
If I had to guess, that's what I would say. Because if it comes out late summer, that would make sense. You get all the sales from the younger crowd wanting to play a multiplayer game of that sort. So you get them to play that before they start going back to school. Also, it's the summer, so there's a lot more people out, ready to just spend money on stuff, especially if they have DLC to come out with that as well. And if they do it late fall, then that will probably be one of the last big games to come out of the year before, the holiday season and whatnot, and a bunch of stuff starts going on sale so they can make all the money that they need to make and get the sales where they need them to be and all that. So I'm just expecting that to be the case.
Yep. I think the microtransaction thing, people were kind of uproar. I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
I mean, it's very possible. I wouldn't blame them though, because we literally just talked about that earlier.
Like a battle. It was something that got leaked, a battle pass or something. I don't know. I wasn't really paying too much attention, but I know people were
something
pissed.
Something like that. Some kind of battle pass where it's a bunch of microtransaction-y shit going on. And like we were saying earlier, any time you have something to that effect in a game, It's not only going to piss us off, the people buying the game, but it also lets us know that there's a bunch of stuff in the game that we could just do that instead of giving us access to, we're going to have to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to pay $5 to have Harley Quinn wear her original Jester costume. I don't want to pay $5 to have King Shark look like Nanawe from the Suicide Squad film that we got a year or two ago. I don't want to pay $5 to have Deadshot look like, another version of the character, like all that stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to play it. I want to earn it in the game. Now, other stuff like other boss battles, super secret special moves and stuff that you could get in the game. Like I wouldn't feel so bad paying for that because some of that stuff you probably wouldn't be able to earn in the game. But like, yeah, man, just if you really want people to enjoy the game and stuff, calm down, make the game solid. And if we're going to do DLC, give me a full game that happens to have DLC that works for it later after I've already done all the other stuff and I'm ready for more stuff in the game. But yeah, I totally get it.
All right. Well, that's good over this episode. Another banger Last of Us episode. I've been engrossed every week. It's been fantastic. I can't praise the show enough, and I can't wait to watch the finale because I have an idea what to expect. We'll see what they do with it. It should be really good though. Like so far, they haven't disappointed on any aspect, so I don't expect it to disappoint. So I'm excited. I can't wait. But that's gonna bring us to the last call question. So that's right. It's time to
pass the whiskey.
That's right. Get your
whiskey
ready. And I think Christian has it this week again. This man's just dictating our last call question. Look, you have to get off your soapbox over here. Quit being that kid in class raising his hand asking 50 million questions. Oh my God.
I do have a question, and it's a big one. So I understand if you can't come up with an answer immediately, but this week's question is, what is your favorite kill in all of horror? Your favorite horror movie kill of all time? What is that?
That's a really hard question.
Yes, it is. When you hear that question, what's the first kill that pops up in your head? Maybe it may not be your favorite, but what's the first one that pops up in your head?
The very first one?
Mm.
For some reason, two pop in my head immediately.
Let's hear them.
Obviously, the knife, like, hanging, like, where Michael stabs a knife into the guy and he, like, kind of hangs him on, like, the wall in the 1978 Halloween. He just leaves him there and looks at him. That pops into my head. But also, Sinister, I think it's a flashback where they bury, is it the dad? Who do they bury? They bury somebody up to like their neck, and then a lawnmower runs over their head. It's the
whole family, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super fucked up, but I don't know why that pops in my head because I'm like, God dang, that's pretty damn rough. Another one, and I'm totally going to hell for this, is Hereditary. When the girl hangs her head out the window, just because it's such a good shock kill that you're like, she's just hanging her head out the window, just enjoying the night breeze, and then a telephone pole decapitates her, just because. Yeah, that one's up there. Good kill, dude. There's so many. Like, God, if you go through the 80s, there's so many like crazy freaking kills, just over the top shit.
Here, let me try to answer this real quick.
Yeah,
because you said something about it, I'm thinking of Sinister. And it's the kill where the family's hanging on the tree, like the beginning of the
That's a pretty good horror movie. Sinister.
Yeah. That kill. I remember when I saw it for the first time. That kill actually fucked me up a little bit. I was like, oh shit, like it stuck with me. You know what I mean? Is it my favorite kill? No, but it's definitely the first one that pops in my head, especially after you saying what you said. Another kill that pops in my head immediately is from The Invisible Man from 2020. Have you seen that?
Yes. It was a great movie.
Okay. You remember the scene where her sister, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it.
The restaurant scene?
Yeah,
Oh my god, yeah, that was good
yeah.
because I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good one.
It happens so quick, dude. So fucking quick. It's like, oh shit. Oh, nobody's gonna believe her. Oh my god. Like, that's what I was
It's
thinking when
so
it
fucked
happened.
up.
So that's definitely one. Is it my favorite? No, but it's like the first thing that popped in my head. But if I had to say right now, off the top of my head, my favorite horror movie kill of all time, probably Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, when Glenn or Johnny Depp's character gets killed in the bed and you get that blood geyser from the
Yeah,
waterbed. Like, yeah, that shit stuck with me as well, even now as a grown adult and knowing how they filmed it and all of that. That scene, that was to me, I think that was the scariest part of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, because Freddy and all of his carnations have never been like really scary to me. I just never. I mean, the concept of Freddy Krueger is fucking terrifying, but the movies themselves never been scary. But that one scene, I was like, shit, bro, because like you're not safe in your own bed. Oh my god, like another scene similar to that where I felt like a horror movie was cooking the books a little bit with how you feel, especially when you're a kid. Is when you're a kid, you get under your covers, you're safe. As long as they can't see you, you can't see them under your covers, you're safe at all times. But in the remake, I guess, of The Grudge, right, the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar, there's a scene where a woman goes home because she's getting haunted, right, and gets into her bed up under the covers, and then when you look up under her covers, the fucking little boy Toshiro is under the covers with her. And I remember the first time I saw that scene, I was like, nope,
nope.
you're fucked.
Uh,
But yeah,
I had
those
another one
definitely
just
pop
pop
in
into
my
my
head.
head.
Okay.
Hatchet. He kills the
Mm,
old man, and he like takes like
okay.
is it a machete, I think, or maybe it's an axe, and he kind of like hits him in the neck and starts chopping down through him, and then just rips him in half. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Super crazy gory scene, like over the top gore, but that one sticks out just because I was like, God, okay, we're going there. Like we're full sending this.
Mhm. All right. Well,
That
cool,
was a
man.
good
I
question.
like to hear.
Uh,
I like to get the juices flowing in your brain with these questions sometimes. So that was a good one, I
listeners,
think.
what is your favorite horror kill of all time? Let us know in the comments. We would love to know.
Please let us know in the
I'm
comments. Hit
curious.
us up on our socials. Ask us other questions similar. Like, I'm so excited to read you guys' comments about what your favorite horror movie kills are of all time. So if you can give us like obviously if you have a favorite, I want to know. But if you can't come up with one, give me like your top three. I want to hear your top three. We gave you guys three. Give us your top three favorite horror movie kills of all time. I'm super excited to read those, and I'll even hop in and talk to you guys in the comment section too about that, because that's something that I'm super interested in.
Heck yeah. Again, apologies about the video feed. I don't know what that was today. It feels like every episode we have some kind of something break, and I guess that's just kind of how the podcast goes. You know, something's always breaking. Apologies about that, but for the most part, it worked. So if you're watching on YouTube, sorry. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Next week we have the finale of The Last of Us, which will be yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm stoked for that. And I appreciate you all listening. If you would like your last call question to be featured on the podcast, join the Guild us over gilded.gg/Sinister Pack. In the application, just put from the podcast. There's a section dedicated just to the last call question, as well as Sinister Tales if you want to submit a spooky story for us to talk about on the pod. There's also various channels so you can talk about different things podcast oriented. It's a free app, free download, and it's a great place to hang out and talk to us. Highly recommended. Gilded.gg/Sinister Pack. You can also hit us up on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Sippin With Sin, Sippin with Sin. DM us there, follow us there, talk to us there. You can get your last call question featured there also. Just hit us up and let us know. You can find me on my personal socials. I am Sinister TV. Twitter, Instagram, I am Sinister TV. Like I said, find them, follow, DM, talk to me. Love to hear from you. You can find me live streaming on twitch.tv/IamSinisterTV. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/IamSinisterTV and live streaming on TikTok, as well as putting clips and all kinds of stuff on TikTok. I am Sinister TV there also. New episodes of the podcast come out every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time on pretty much every audio platform: Spotify, Google, Overcast, Anchor.fm, Apple, all the stuff. 8 a.m. every Wednesday. Rate 5 stars, subscribe, share it with a friend. whatever, all the good stuff. Just do it. Show it love. We appreciate it very, very much. And then the new episode of the video version of the podcast comes out every Wednesday, 8 a.m. on my personal YouTube, youtube.com/IamSinister. Go subscribe to it. Thumbs up the videos. Comment there, such as Legends Yobi and different ones. We've had different people commenting and talking, and we appreciate it. Let us know. Talk to us about the episode over there. We love to hear from you guys. Yeah. And Christian, where can lovely folks find you?
You guys can find me on all the socials at Vin and Ink, all one word. That's on all the socials. You guys can find me as well on my own podcast socials as well. That's at Horrorverse Pod at all of the socials. And yeah, man, come say hi. Say what's up. I'll say what's up back. And can't wait to talk to you guys more.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you all listening. You're the best. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. It's time for you to go home. You don't have to go home. I mean, I guess you can go to the store. You can go play billiards, darts. You can play freeze tag in the parking lot. I don't care. You don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. We're shutting it down for the day. Christian, close her out.
Thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping with Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, smash that like button, and let us know in the comment section below what you want to hear us talk about, what you want to hear us, just kind of contemplate. You want to hear more listicles, you want to hear more band stories, let us know on all our socials. But with that being said, guys, I will leave you with the 3 words to leave you on every single episode. You guys know the words, say them with me. Those words are as follows. Don't get gutted. Have a good one, guys.
Next week.